Alright, what is up guys? JaretCampisi here. Welcome back to another video. Today is special because yesterday Ducati announced their brand new V4 Panigale. I'm going to be talking about my first impressions of it in this video, show you guys pictures of it, what I think about the looks of it, all the different new technology they've incorporated into this bike, and we're just going to sit down and enjoy what is the brand new Ducati Panigale V4, so stay tuned. Okay. So this is Ducati's website. This is their brand new website that they're using for all their different models. There you go, there's the front of the bike. I think first I'll talk a little bit about the aesthetics. So I actually really love the front of it. I think it looks awesome. It has full LED lighting. They actually have LED light strips here, and then in there, I'll show you some other photos, they have actual lights in there. So they're calling it the Panigale 1409, okay? So there's three different models. There's the standard model, which I think is going to be around 22 or 23,000. There's the S model, which will be 26 or 27,000, and then there's the Speciale, which we'll talk about later, and I think that one's going to be 40,000. Horsepower. So it's a V4. They're saying it makes 214 horsepower, 124 Newton meters of torque, and it weighs dry 386 pounds. You can see all of the, that's not even all of the stuff that it has as far as like technology in the bike. It's groundbreaking. I mean, this is insane. And actually, if you look at the Speciale, 226 horsepower on the Speciale, and it weighs 381 pounds. So it's like, I don't even know what you compare that to anymore, because all the other leader bikes are making 195 horsepower. This is to the crank, this isn't to the wheel, but still you're going to be well over 200 horsepower on the dyno, you know. So that's insane numbers. I mean, the Speciale, at that weight and that horsepower, you're looking at H2 territory. That thing's supercharged and it weighs 100 pounds more. So I don't think anything's really going to be competing with this on the road, is like for SmackDown and stuff like that. And then the looks of it are just ridiculous. So so here you go. Here's a side kind of shot of it, of the looks. This by far makes it look the best in my opinion. Obviously I told you I really like the front end. I like the tail section, I think that looks awesome. Overall I think it looks really cool. It still has a single-sided swing arm. They now have a huge special 260 tire on the rear. It's actually a new version of the Diablo Super Courses that they're calling the SPs, that they specifically designed for this bike to handle the horsepower that it generates. But here's some of the issues I have with it. This area right here, there's just too much going on, like with this part and then this step down, and then this part doesn't even connect here. Then there's the frame of the bike that you can see that's a totally different color, and then this goes up and over the gas tank and goes around the gas tank. I just think it completely ruins the lines of the bike. And let me show you, this is a Super Sport, and see how the Super Sport does that same stupid thing there where it goes up over the line of the bike there? I really don't like that, and I'm not sure why they went that direction. This is the old Panigale, and see here how they kept that line along the gas tank and it flows all the way back and down and back up. Look at how good that bike looks from the side compared to that. Right? Like, what the heck is going on here? I'm not crazy about that, but when you look at the Speciale, of course not. So there's the V4, there's the V4S, and again with the S you get things like carbon fiber parts, you get full electronic suspension, you get a lithium ion battery, but mainly it just drops it a couple pounds of weight. It's still the same horsepower, all that kind of stuff. And it looks like they all have the same safety equipment and, like, you know, rider modes, power modes, launch control, Bosch cornering, ABS, Ducati traction control. Evo is just like the upgraded parts. That's actually what the Superleggera had. Now they have got wheelie control, slide control. You can actually steer the thing with the throttle around turns. It's got lean angle sense. We'll go into all that stuff. But if you look, so going from the S or either one of the standard models, see how these lines still look pretty ridiculous in here? When you go to the Speciale, now that looks really, really good. It's crazy because they actually changed a lot of things here. Well, one, they kept that line right there, which makes it look a lot better. Don't you agree, Christina? The lines on this look a lot better. Mm-hmm. And then also the entire exhaust is completely different. So look at when you go from here, see how they have the two pipes coming up here, and then they've got the full underbelly exhaust. But when you go to this one, Now it's like a completely different setup. That's actually a completely different fairing down there. Now you've got, I'm not sure what's happening up there, but it looks like it's smaller. This is an Akrapovic slip-on exhaust, which actually is part of the reason why it gets 10, 12 more horsepower. You know, there's no mirrors, there's no rear tail section hanging off there. So, I mean, I think the Speciale looks really, really good, and it actually looks incredible when you look at it. I think it's this one. Yeah, like that looks pretty ridiculous. So looks wise on the Speciale, they crushed that. There's a special suede seat on there. They've got carbon fiber parts. I'm not sure why the tail hugger is like broken there, because it's just gonna throw dirt and mud all over the rider. But you know, overall, it's a great looking bike on the Speciale, but I think that they could have done a better job with the side fairing area here. So, you know, whatever, maybe it'll grow on me. It's a new bike, so it always takes some getting used to. I still think that the 1299 Panigale is the most gorgeous bike ever created, but what they did with this bike, the technology that they put into this bike, it took a huge leap forward past pretty much all the other brands, including their old 1299 Panigale. So let's talk a little bit about what kind of features this bike has. Okay, so innovative front frame. Basically, it's a front frame. They're calling it a front frame because they're using the engine as a stress member yet again. And that's actually that little frame that you see on the bike. It's right here. So similar to how the original Panigale, the 1299, has that air box. That's like the frame of the bike. Similar to that, except now it just comes down around a little bit more and attaches to the motor. Still using the motor as a stress member, and that's what helps them keep the weight down of the bike. Now they're doing something with a double layer solution with the fairing. That's actually the part that I don't like, but they did that because of how it functions as an air extractor for the radiator. Obviously, it's a big V4. It's making a ton of horsepower, 1100, almost 1200 cc's. Again, 220 horsepower, 215 depending on the model. But it's gonna get hot, and so I think that's probably one of the reasons why they have those step downs and stuff like that, because they're trying to funnel air away from the motor and heat away from the motor. Diamond tank, I don't really know what this means. Some sort of diamond tank they're calling it. And then a sleek tail. It's like a one-piece tail section. It's like a race-ready tail. I think that's really cool. The engine, okay, so stuff that they did with the engine. One thing that's really cool is on normal street bikes, the crankshaft will actually rotate the same as the rear tire, right? So when you're accelerating, the rear tire rotates, pushes the bike forward. The crankshaft on street bikes rotates the same way. Well, for MotoGP bikes, once they get really light and start making more power, they actually reverse the crankshaft, and what that does is it helps keep the front wheel down and helps make the bike more manageable under those like insane like power that when you're twisting the throttle. So they actually added that counter-rotating crankshaft that rotates in the opposite direction, and that came from the MotoGP bikes, which is really cool. It's going to make the bike a lot more easy to ride, and so it won't be just like a complete wheelie monster or stuff like that. Another thing that's really cool that they did with the engine is they changed the firing orders of the different cylinders. So you can watch the video. They have a whole video on this, but basically what they did is they offset the way the cylinders fire so that it makes the bike more stable. And so things like coming out of turns, going into turns, braking, accelerating, all that kind of stuff, they basically designed the engine to be more stable so that, you know, two sides aren't firing on this side or something like that and it's throwing the bike off. It basically fires so that it keeps it nice and stable, and I think something like that is really, really cool. That's the kind of stuff Ducati does that like really sets them apart from other people. But I think that's really cool. You know, they're designing completely new technologies for this bike, and that's what makes it really special. So the regular one comes with big show-off front fork. And then once you step up to the S model or the Speciale, you get Öhlins full electronic suspension. The regular model has regular aluminum alloy rims, has regular cast aluminum rims. The V4S and the Panigale Speciale have the aluminum alloy, like lightweight rims. Okay, so electronics. So one of the things that they added was the Bosch cornering system. So now it has a lean angle sensor. It had that before, but now it works with ABS. So it'll actually allow only the front wheel to have ABS, and then the rear wheel will allow it to slide. I think they had something similar to this on the Superleggera with their ABS Evo system, but that's really cool that they have that on there. Let's see, what else do they have? Yeah, so Ducati slide control, that's what they have. Now you can actually calibrate it and make adjustments to it if you want to. Quick shift up and down, and they actually have the quick shifters working with the IMU, so that if you're leaned over and you're shifting up or down, it'll actually make it smoother based on your lean angle, because obviously you're changing how the engine's firing and how the bike is feeling and stuff like that. It's just, like I said, it's a huge leap forward. I'm not going to go into the specifics of how it all works because I don't honestly understand it, but that's it. You know, you still have those long service intervals. I actually read that it was 15,000 miles. For some reason on here it says 7,500. I'm not sure if that's a misprint on them or not. You can see all the stuff, riding modes. They actually have launch control now where you can just leave it wide open and do launch. They call it power modes. Like I said, Bosch cornering ABS, Ducati traction control, engine brake control, auto tire calibration. I don't even know what any of that stuff is, but insane, guys. So that's the new bike. Let me know what you guys think of the looks of it. Like I said, certain parts of it look phenomenal. The side, I'm not super huge fan of the red, but the Speciale, they did it right. It looks really good on that one. Yeah, so there's the 1299 Anniversario. In my opinion, still the best looking bike ever created. But, you know, you got to move forward, and if that means you got to sacrifice some looks to keep it maybe a little bit cooler and make it ride a little bit easier. They're saying that this engine is a lot easier to ride than the 1299 Panigale, and so I think that could be really nice. When I rode the RSV4, I actually found that bike a lot more confidence inspiring than the 1299. I'm sure it's still going to be a savage bike, but maybe it'll be a little bit more rideable, a little more user friendly. I think it's freaking amazing. I would love to have one. People actually in my live stream last night were saying that they wanted to buy the Speciale for me or donate money to me to buy it. Actually, if you want to, I will put a link to my PayPal in the description. Feel free to send me money. If you want to send me money, I'll put it towards the bike. I would love to buy this bike and ride it for you guys and make videos on it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys think. So.
What about the mock-ups that they had?
Oh, yeah.
That gray.
Yeah. So these were some photos that leaked of someone doing like these designs of what they thought the bike was going to look like, which is actually pretty close. And see how they actually stopped the fairing there? And in my opinion, it looks a lot better like that with the clean lines, and then not having that extra fairing in there. And so, or actually, I guess it is still there. It's just black, huh? But like, look at how good that looks. Just as something as simple as stopping that fairing right there. Look at that. And then they actually did a mock-up of the Tricolore. And I don't know, man, I think that almost looks better than the bike they released. I'm not sure if it's just because of that fairing not going over there, or how they basically hid that fairing in there so that you don't see like all those step downs. But you know, it is what it is. I still think it looks really good. And of course, once we see it in person, we'll know. Christina and I are going to the New York Motorcycle Show December 1st to the 3rd. So we'll be able to see this in person, and then we'll have a better idea and give you some more impressions. But overall, I think it's amazing. It's going to really be a huge step forward. Like I said, no other bikes are going to be competing with this leader bike-wise. The H2 is probably the only thing that's going to compete on a straight line, but this thing weighs a lot more. It's going to corner way better. It has way more electronics. It's going to be way easier to ride. I think it's freaking amazing. So there it is, guys. Let me know in the comments section below what you think of the bike. And I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the thumbs up button if you did. Subscribe for more videos. Ducati, if you ever watch any of my videos, if you ever want to work with me, send me bikes to ride, or let me try out bikes, or if you want to even get my feedback on the design process, I would love to be a part of it. So let me know, and I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one.